film shows how friendships from childhood, no matter really how brief, can leave lasting marks on our lives forever. You know, like Gordy's closing reflection essentially saying, I never had friends later on like those ones, you know, when I was 12. It just encapsulates, I think, just the universal longing to hold on to that idea, that pure idea of youth. It's a really, really great movie. We recently did a watch party for Stand By Me in honor of The Long Walk, and I've always had a love for this movie. Stand By Me, which came out in 1986, directed by Rob Reiner, and also co-written by Reynold Gideon and Bruce A. Evans, of course, from Stephen King's short stories novella, The Body. It's the original title. To me, it's just one of the best coming-of-age films of the 1980s. You know, a decade that was dominated by the subgenre. You were getting a lot of John Hughes movies that were coming-of-age stories. And I just think, like, the young cast is just so exceptional in this, which takes place in the 1950s. The whole movie is essentially being narrated by Richard Dreyfuss, who is the older character, the older version of Will Wheaton's character of Gordy in the film. Talking about his recent experiences and friendships because of something that happened. An inciting event happens that convinces him to essentially write this. But the cast, man, they really make this movie what it is. Like, Will Wheaton as Gordy, he's so good. He gives such a wonderful, sensitive, understated performance as a boy struggling with grief and this feeling of constant invisibility in his family. Like, his older brother, who's played by John Cusack, who would go on to make other Stephen King movies, 1408, passed away, died in a car crash, in an automobile accident. And that's just weighed on the entire family. And it's just made his parents kind of forgetful and cruel, in my opinion. Although they were kind of pieces of shit. The parents sucked in this movie from the very beginning, which always bothered me. They always every time I watch this movie, I always get really riled up when I watch the parents. I'm like, they were shitty both too. They put so much on John Cusack's character, right? On the brother. And you thinking like, oh, John Cusack, he's going to be a piece of shit older brother. No, he was a great older brother. He was interested in Gordy and what he wanted to do and like encouraged his writing and his creativity and his mind. And that's the thing, like you realize like watching that film, John Cusack's character is the same way. Like, yeah, he's the football star. He has to be the popular kid. Like he has to be able to, because that was forced on him by his fucking parents. But you look around his room, and how he interacts with Gordy, he has the exact same interests that he has. Like, he loves writing and film and comedy and things. Like, that's all on full display. They do, like, they go back and forth. They memorize Three Stooges lines and stuff. And I always forget about this. Like, oh, yeah, the brother's, like, a really good guy. And you just, and you come and realize, like, oh, the father and the mother and the parents in general, the family, they just put all like, well, you're our first son, so you got to be the prototypical 1950s fucking kid where you got to be the captain of the football team. You have to be the most popular kid in school, and I mean, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it's like that's not who he wanted to be though. Like honestly, like watching the film, who he wanted to be was actually his little brother, right? And I just like that they bonded over that. And so when John Cusack's gone, the film, the parents just fucking suck, and how they just ignore Will Wheaton's character, they don't care about him. It just drives me crazy, and it makes so many of those scenes where Will Wheaton is, and also probably brings a lot of his own experience because his parents were fucking horrible human beings too. He's talked about it before in interviews and things. Encourage you to check some of that out. It's tragic. But it just adds so much to those scenes where he's breaking down and talking about how his parents like don't love him and don't understand him. It's like, oh, it just hurts you. But he finds a family in his friends because it's a found family movie. And if you like that kind of stuff, then you'll love this. River Phoenix, late great River Phoenix, who plays the character of Chris. He is just so good in this movie as kind of like very much an older brother to Gordy, but also kind of like a father figure in a way. He is so magnetic, and he brings this toughness, this stoicism in certain scenes, and at the same time very vulnerable. Especially like during scenes when he has like this tearful confession about being branded like a thief and a piece of shit because his family, your father's a piece of shit, your brother's a piece of shit, and you're gonna be a piece of shit too, right? And it's just so heartbreaking, and it just remains one of his most iconic performances. I think it's what honestly blew him up to be what he was, in the years following. He's so good in the movie. Corey Feldman, long before he was doing his Michael Jackson cosplay. He made a lot of great movies in the 1980s. They had some really good performances, and I think this is one of his best ones, is Teddy. He has a really good manic energy in this movie, and pain. And I think his vitality in the movie, it hints at his deeper scars from his abusive father who burned his fucking ear, against a stove and everything. He has a lot of issues throughout this entire movie, but it adds to it. And then you have Jerry O'Connell as Vern, who's, he's the fat kid. He provides a lot of levity, a lot of innocence to this movie. He likes exaggerating things. He's actually the one that gets everyone to go on this journey initially, even though he doesn't want to. And, his nervousness, his humor, I think it manages to balance a lot of the heavier moments. And I did not mean it that way. I did not mean because he was fat. He's very good. The four of them have just excellent. I mean, again, together, their chemistry feels genuine. Capturing just the messy, affectionate, sometimes cruel banter of real childhood friendships. These kids love to talk shit. These kids love to fuck with one another, but they have each other's backs, at least for that time. And I think and that's the thing, like, the script does such a great job of authentically capturing just how kids talk, being profane, goofy, full of bravado, talking a lot of shit. But again, at the same time, despite all that, having these moments laced in of, like, raw honesty. I really like that. And them, like, telling tall tales, especially Will Wheaton's character. Get kind of these sub-stories in the movie, which I think are really cool and kind of are a little otherworldly, especially how they're shot. Rob Reiner does such a great job. Hyping up this dog like it's fucking Cujo or something that they have to deal with it at one point in the film. Sharing all the secrets are kind of like filled with bullshit, but then sometimes later on, in more intimate moments when they've been through the stuff, telling the truth. It's really good. And I think Dreyfuss, you can say a lot about Richard Dreyfuss. His narration, I think, is great. It's very nostalgic. Really great scenes in the movie, especially with Kiefer Sutherland, who plays the character of Ace. Him and his gang. Those are some wonderful, wonderful moments in the film. The cinematography, I think, is also really underrated in this movie. I think it does a great job of capturing just the lush beauty of Oregon, the Oregon wilderness. You have these, like, really cool epic wide shots. Because essentially it's the boys, like, traveling quite a ways to to find this body of this kid that apparently died, was hit by a train, and just gives the film kind of like an epicness, almost like a mythic quality. Like these kids are on a mythic quest to find this thing. We're gonna be heroes, right? It's like they're going off to Mordor or something. But then you have these moments where, like, especially like around the campfire, and in the cinematography becomes very, very intimate. I just liked how that you had that difference at times throughout the film. I like that. And the film just has these moments of constant nostalgia. It's timeless. It makes us think about our childhoods, those summers that you spent with your friends, riding bikes, building a tree. I mean, doing all that shit, right? We all had those experiences. A lot of us had those experiences, and we idealize them, and I think that's really cool. But I love how just the film shows. This is the most important aspect of the film. The film shows how friendships from childhood, no matter really how brief, can leave lasting marks on our lives forever. Like Gordy's closing reflection essentially saying, I never had friends later on like those ones, when I was 12. It just encapsulates, I think, just the universal longing to hold on to that idea, that pure idea of youth. It's a really, really great movie. And rewatching it just makes me really appreciate it. And I just realized, essentially, I just did my review for Stand By Me. I was planning to, I'm going to do a separate review for Stand By Me, but I essentially just did my review. So I think I'm going to take this out of the top 10 and just put it as a separate video, too. But it's a great film. I love it. I have so much appreciation. I've seen it several times since originally watching it all those years ago. At number